Ready to go. Thank you.
Thank you. I call to order tonight's Historic Preservation Board meeting, June 22nd, 2021. May we please have the roll call?
Amanda Skyer. Let the record reflect that Amanda Skyer is not present. Kristen Kellogg.
Here.
Dan Pickney.
Here.
Gabriel Joslavsky.
Here.
Ken Breslauer.
Here.
Reginald Stanbaugh.
Here.
Nick Asatley.
Here.
Keith Williams. Let the record reflect that Keith Williams is not present.
Thank you. Ms. Mittner, are there any changes to tonight's agenda from staff? Ms. Mittner, are there any changes to the agenda?
I'm sorry. It was a little hard to hear you. Just the report of the preservation planner?
Do you have any changes to tonight's agenda?
No, we do not.
Are there any other changes to tonight's agenda from anyone on the board? Okay. I would like to move case number 21-42 from consent.
Okay.
That's for 112 Monroe Drive. All right. Seeing no other changes, may we have a motion to approve tonight's agenda with the noted change?
I move the board to approve tonight's agenda with a noted change.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you. All right. The minutes for the May 25th, 2021 meeting, if everyone has had a chance to review those, are there any changes? Okay, seeing none, may we have a motion to approve the minutes?
I move the board to approve the meeting minutes from last month's meeting.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you. All right, and now we will have the report of the Historic Preservation Planner.
Thank you. We're having a hard time hearing you, so hopefully you can hear me. I just wanted to report since our last meeting, staff has completed 151 level 1 reviews, which is quite an uptick in activity, 3 level 2s and 35 zoning reviews. I also wanted to remind the board that thank you for your patience over this past year and tonight as we're trying to host and present. But next month we will be back in person live here at City Hall. And then Aaron would also like to make a quick announcement to the board.
Good evening, everyone. Aaron Barner, Historic Preservation Planner. I want to let everyone know that today will be my last Historic Preservation Board meeting. Friday, July 2nd will be my last day at the city. I accepted a position for a senior planner up in Connecticut.
Wow, congratulations, Aaron.
Thank you.
We will miss you.
Well, I'll miss everyone as well, and I wish everyone luck.
We appreciate all you've done for us and for the city and the time you spent here.
And good luck.
Thank you.
I'm gonna miss you.
All right. Thank you again for that, Aaron.
Did you say Connecticut?
Okay. Moving on to the remarks by the chairperson. We have a script we need to read for tonight's meeting. Pursuant to Mayor Keith A. James Executive Order number 2020-05 issued on April 2nd, 2020, the City of West Palm Beach's boards and committees are conducting meetings through media technology and have released the requirements to have quorum of its members physically present at City Hall. On April 14th, 2020, Mayor Keith A. James issued Executive Order number 2020-09, which specifically provides the rules of procedure for conducting city meetings, including requirements for quasi-judicial hearings. To ensure the ability for the public to continue to participate and public hearings. It is being streamed live and available for viewing in the City Commission chambers located at City Center, 401 Clematis Street, on the condition that social distancing be practiced. Additionally, for those wishing to access the meeting remotely, they are able to do so through the through the applicable Zoom webinar link, as well as the city's usual media channels, including WPB-TV 18, the city's website, and the city's YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter feeds. Anyone from the public who would like to provide comment on an agenda item is able to do so through the following: in the City Center Flagler Gallery by dialing 561-320-3872 and leaving a voicemail not to exceed 3 minutes, sending an email or video recording to hpbpubliccomment@wpb.org, or completing the online public comment form www.wpb.org/public-comments. Those accessing the meeting directly through Zoom may also use the Q&A or raise hand features. Regardless of method, please be sure to indicate on the agenda the number or case number for which you are providing comment. Everyone providing testimony must have video capability and will need to be sworn in. The swearing in will occur at the start of each case on the agenda. If you are about to provide testimony and are not sworn in, be sure to indicate such and be sworn in before offering your testimony. After the applicant presents their case, staff will provide a presentation, and then the public will have an opportunity to speak or have their comments read into the record from previously received correspondence. The board will then go into executive session. Prior to rendering a decision, the board will confirm no additional public comments have been received by staff. For the members of the board, it is emphasized that Florida sunshine laws are applicable, and you may not use the chat feature or any other form of individual communication to discuss matters with other board members, the applicant, or the general public during the meeting. Okay. And now we will have our call for ex parte communications. I will go down the list. Mr. Dan Pickney.
No ex parte communication.
Mr. Gabriel Jaroslawski.
I spoke with the applicant on case number 20-56A, but I can make my own decisions based on the evidence that will be presented tonight.
Thank you. Mr. Ken Breslauer.
No ex parte communication.
Mr. Reginald Stambaugh.
No ex parte communication.
Mr. Nick Casale.
No ex parte communication.
And Keith Williams is not with us, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, and Mrs. Skyer has not joined us.
Correct. Not yet.
Okay, so for myself, I have had no ex parte communications. And now we will move on to the swearing in of speakers.
Well, first I wanted to let you know that we are not aware of any public comment that has come in that's for non-agenda items. And if there's anyone online, I don't see anyone in the chat, and we've received no commentary. Would you like me to bring in the remaining 3 consent items and have them sworn in?
Yes.
Okay, great. That should be the 3 consent items that remain there. We've got 1804C, 224 Elmira Road, Mr. Morgan Chong, case 21-43, 522 Claremore Drive, Ms. Kate Field, and there is no one who has dialed in for the other case. So,
Okay, I can't see Mr. Morgan or Miss Fields or
if
Miss,
you'll turn your video on, we'll have you sworn in.
okay. There's someone for case number 2141. That's in new business, but you raise your right hand. Solemnly swear affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
I do. Thank you.
Thank you. May we have a motion for the consent cases?
I move the board to approve consent cases, which include case number 18-04C on 224 Almeria Road, case number 21-43 in 522 Claremore Drive, and case number 21-45 and 713 Park Place.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you. If you are case number 18-04C, 224 Almeria Road, case number 21-43, 522 Claremore Drive, or case number 21-45, 713 Park Place, you are approved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I will now bring in the applicant for case 2143. And they are in. We just need them, you unmuted, please.
That's one of the consent cases, correct, Frederick?
Yes, it was the one that was pulled off the agenda. So I'm sorry, Ms. Kellogg, did you want to hear that now?
It was case number 21-42. I think you just said 43.
I'm sorry, yes, 42 is who I brought in.
That's me.
Okay, raise your right hand, please, to be sworn in. You solemnly swear affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
So Gord, you have the property owner and the architect in the meeting this evening. If you all will describe and present your case to the board, please.
Hi, good evening. I just first like to ask why we were pulled from the consent agenda.
Pulling the case from the consent agenda just allows us to take a look at the project,
Oh, okay, great.
the public forum. So if you'll just run through your presentation as you normally would.
Good. We were taking on this redesign opportunity several months ago on a property on Monroe that has been experiencing over the years a rather detached condition between an existing historic portion of the building and a addition that was made in the 70s, a two-story addition over, which included a garage on the ground level and a master suite on the second. The addition was not considered to be historic, nor did it have to maintain evidently any posture design-wise that caused its design to be conforming to any historic characteristics that were consistent with the original property.
I apologize for interrupting you. Do you have a visual presentation you'd like pulled up?
No, I don't have that with me. Do
Okay.
you have that, Frederic?
I can put it up if I'm allowed, but and no, we can only see the top half of your face from your nose up.
Gotcha.
You're way too. You either have to sit. I think you have to sit back.
Sorry,
Okay.
guys.
All right. Okay.
All right.
But if I can put it up, I mean, if you want me to, I don't know that I can, given the I can put up the architectural, but
That's fine. That would be fine. I'd have to try and find it. I didn't expect to have had it up since we're not on we were on the consent agenda, so I did not prepare accordingly. But my apologies. And I can try and find that. If you have a Jen, that'd be great.
yeah, I just have to know how to put it up for everybody. Hang on for a minute. Let's see if I can find it. Pretty sure I have it.
I'll try and find it as well.
Well, I've got it. I mean, I've got the final.
Is staff able to put the presentation up?
I can email it to somebody.
Yes, I will share it. Just, sorry,
You
we were
can-
dealing with some other technical difficulties here. I will,
Give me a sec. If I can share my screen with you guys.
I think I've done that.
Yeah,
Gord, are you able to see it?
there you go.
Is that,
You guys see it?
oh, I think he just kicked me out. There we go. That's
You
that's the applicant sharing.
Can you guys see it? Is that good?
We can.
Okay. Okay, doke. So,
What we're looking at is the Monroe Street elevation on the front cover of this first portion of the presentation. And the noted historic characteristics of the existing building are essentially the bay window, the front entry door itself, and that's primarily what has been identified as the strong historical characteristic. The addition that we're making is a portion of an area over the existing front entry door and to the right of that, which is the new master suite. Seen in plan view here is we currently have a driveway entry off of Washington Drive, which we have gotten approval to change to Monroe Drive because of the difficulty of access and the what is being left as unusable property on the rear and side yard of our property, which is currently very tight and really needs redefinition. The site plan does show basically in blue those areas that we're adding to the existing structure. We are keeping the majority of the existing historic preservation footprint, but modifying it slightly to accommodate the redesign. I think we'll go, if we can go forward here and looking at the.
numbers that I'm going to give them the.
Went too far fast forward. Sorry, guys.
I was just going to go to I was going to go to these if you want.
Okay. So it's looking at the exterior elevation, the addition to the right, as explained before, is providing new garage door access from Monroe Street with a balcony over that new addition towards the north of the building, as well as a master suite behind that. And to the right of that aspect of the addition is the extension of the existing second floor access, which would lead towards a volume space over the front entry foyer. To the left of that is the existing bay window that we're preserving along with its architecture. And then to the very far left of that, we are proposing a observation deck over an existing bedroom so that we can capture a casual and social view of the intercoastal. The east elevation shows a little bit more clearly the addition that we're proposing over the existing northeast bedroom. And to the left of that is a proposed spiral stairway to access that observation deck. Adjacent to that spiral stair is an existing bedroom and existing exterior window that is the southeast corner of the existing house. And we are adding to that a new pool cabana, which will be taking up the setback requirements that are allowable for the south and east side of the property and providing an opportunity to have a expanded
relationship to the backyard and an added pole that's being added to the south side of the building. So if I can, now we're going to the, what's the new south elevation and new west elevation. The new south elevation reflects the addition to the right, which would be the first level and a single level pool cabana. And then behind that is the observation deck with the spiral stair. And then the center part of the building, which remains the same with the exception of the windows to the kitchen, which are now modified to allow for a larger picture window, which is now the dining room. And the kitchen, which is moved slightly towards the west, along with the addition of an exercise room and an exit door from that kitchen area to the rear yard. Above that would be the bathroom and closet area of the master suite. And to the right of that is the second floor outdoor patio with a social area right behind that leads to a two-story entry foyer. I think we want to get towards the floor plan so I can sort of explain what's happening in floor plan to both of those levels so that you see what we're up to. So in this first floor plan view, we are looking at the addition or less modification of the existing garage, making it a two-car garage with the access from Monroe Street with two new garage doors here. Then access up to a new laundry room and a new exercise room here with an egress to the outdoor south part of the property there and an expanded kitchen. And we're moving the dining room from a shared relationship to the family room to its own little position. And now we're, with some interior improvements, taking down a wall that exists between the existing living room and the existing family room, we're expanding this space to a much larger family area. Keeping intact the northeast guest room and the southeast guest room, and adding a window on the southwest side of that southeast bedroom and excluding a window that exists on the south elevation. This pool cabana addition will allow for a seating area and a bathroom and a closet area, which could also act as a guest quarters. Right behind that is an exit door that would lead us to a patio area that would take us to the spiral stair that leads up to the observation deck. On the second floor, we are providing for a second floor expanded master suite with a large closet area and a large bathroom area with a tub, shower, and a toilet, and a entry or so like a second floor seating area indoors with a two-story entry foyer with a slightly extended entryway that's keeping the same design entry door as we currently have. And this is an existing portion of the existing stairwell, which we're just continuing to allow us access to a second floor condition. The standalone area to the far east of that would be the observation deck with access from the spiral stair. So I think this does lead, and this is the overall roof plan. Here are the perspectives of the existing on the top portion of the page and the proposed on the bottom portion of the page. So I open this up to questions from the board.
Are there any questions from the board at this time? Okay.
Not at this time.
May we have staff's presentation?
Yes, of course. Frederic Mittner, presenting case 21-42 for 112 Monroe Drive. The subject property is located on the southeast corner of Washington Road and Monroe Drive. It was a structure built in 1949, and it does contribute to the Prospect Park / Southland Park Historic District. There have been modifications over the years. We looked and tried to do some research. It was hard to document exactly when the modifications happened, but there were some over the years, including a carport, including changing the entry. Also, we believe combining the two structures, And so the applicant is proposing some expanded footprint on the north and changing the driveway entry there to garages, which Monroe is a much easier access point than the busy Washington Drive, and expanding the kitchen here. And as you saw, the pool cabana over here on the footprint. The proposed first floor plan, and then the expansion of this master bedroom suite and the open observation deck over here. Actually, if I can just go back to the first image, I'd like to just point out to the board that it is right at the edge of the historic district. There's one more non-contributing structure just to the south of it, and then there is new multifamily higher mid-rise construction just to the south of it. So even though they are proposing this deck, which is something is that staff would not have been comfortable with if it was in the middle of a historic district, but since it is in the edge and it does transition into much higher, is why we were amenable to what was proposed. So again, the first floor plan, the master bedroom suite, and this observation deck. The north elevation, they are going to reincorporate. There are 2 sailboat vents currently on the house, and they will be reincorporated into these eaves. The bay window and the coins we felt were character defining features, and those will remain and be reintroduced at the new edges of the building. And again, the front facing gables versus a hip roof. The south elevation and the west elevation, and as was shown to you by the applicant, here's the existing. Again, we believe this perhaps was a later addition or modification here. This entry is awkward, and then we believe maybe the roof was lifted here, but again, it was hard to find exact records of the evolution of this building. So we do believe the proposal meets the Secretary of the Interior Standards 9 and 10 and our design criteria for additional compatibility, specifically given its location. So we were recommending approval. Thank you.
Ms. Bittner, would you mind going back to the model views which showed the existing and proposed, please?
Yes, of course. These?
Yes, thank you. Do we have any questions or comments from the board? Okay, I have a couple of questions for the applicant. The express tie beam feature that you find at the viewing terrace and then above the garage, is that found elsewhere on the home, or where are you pulling that detail from?
Basically as this element here, correct? The horizontal element between the columns?
Oh, up a little bit further, up towards the roof element.
Yeah.
Yep, right there.
Yeah. That's basically to assist this element to read as a frame and to sort of stabilize the element of the gable end in both cases. We could certainly try that with just a single triangular plane without any reveal or relief. But felt that gave it more of a portal look and broke it down slightly so that it didn't appear as though it was just a soffit turning right into a gable end. And the horizontality of those elements came from this original banding that we have on that separating the first level and the second level condition. So we sort of just pulled those together and just gave a better proportion, we thought, to that west side of the existing building and allowed it for a much more expanded master suite. So we carried that banding all the way around because it really was a good transition between the existing first and the proposed second. And it tied in a lot as well with our intent to create a trellis and horizontal elements that supported the second level balcony in the rear. So it really followed through all the way around the building. So we thought we'd carry that forward on both levels.
Okay, Ms. Mittner, would you mind just commenting on at the roof, not the banding around the 2 stories, but at the roof line where there's the expression. Is that typical for this
No,
period of home?
I think that's a great suggestion to eliminate that. I think it's even more prominent here on the elevation. So I think you're right. Thank you.
This element here.
Yes, to make it a single plane.
Yeah, that could be done quite readily. I have no issues with that. Just
And
make
then
it
my
look
next,
good, Palladian.
the next question I have for the applicant is above the, I believe it's an existing bedroom to the far left on towards the east side of the north elevation. Above you have some details and squares. What are those exactly? Are they stucco reliefs?
Basically stucco reliefs to relieve the what appears to be a rather tall wall before we hit the deck. And the idea was to try and break that down just a little bit so we didn't have so much verticality, and to try and relieve the little bit of tension that we have at this corner right here. So that was the reason for it. And mimicking the guardrail was an approach that we decided to look at. I'd be in favor of making that one larger element or much more rectangular element if that would work better for you. I can go either way, frankly, but I did need to break that up with some sort of relief so that it didn't appear so vertical.
I think that what is not looking right in that same area is that on the right-hand side of those squares, there should be a coin like on the other side.
Yeah,
and
going all the way down? Yeah.
Correct, right there should be a coin. And
I don't disagree with that. I had a problem with doing that though, because it became more like an applique down here. And I was hoping to have more relief in the building so that there was a reason for the coin. But I do see your point there, and I struggled with that a lot. I mean, but I do agree, we could probably do that applique right there, and it'll simply just be a raised stucco element over the existing flat wall that exists there now.
Because if you replicate it on that right-hand side, then everything can be moved to the left and be centered on the tower. It's gonna look.
Yeah, that's true. I agree. I entirely agree with you there.
So what is the element, please?
It's taking, Mr. Solomon is taking this coin here and just putting it on this side here, moving these over so they're more centered on that entire plane, which I think is a very sensible approach. It's much like what we have on the east elevation, where there's a very far greater sense of symmetry than there is on the north elevation.
And the viewing platform that you have, the finished floor elevation of that is higher than the bedroom that you have on the right side. What is the reasoning for the difference in heights there?
Basically, if we were to superimpose the existing gable, if we take a look at this east elevation, that gable it's the same height as this gable here. So the height of the gable is what's driving the height of that platform. And I don't disagree with you. I certainly would have approved to have moved that whole entire thing down, but it would have mean that we would have to dismantle the whole entire roof of that particular portion of the house and expose it to weather. And just the difficulty of that alone, presented some challenges that we were hoping to not have to work with at this particular time. So it did force it to be a little higher. But it does offer, even at that, a much greater view of the intercoastal and a very private, sort of nice social area. That's very isolated, in the neighborhood for sure.
It seems like the difference in the space that you have between your tie beam for your first floor and your second floor, between the addition to the left and then what you have going on to the right, is creating this awkward space where you're trying to fill it kind of superficially with these stucco bands and then maybe trying to put coins there. I think perhaps there is a different solution that is maybe more fitting with the historic nature of the building, or that takes its cues from the neighborhood. I'm not sure exactly what that is. Mr. Jaroslawski, do you have any suggestions for that area right in there, perhaps?
Can you repeat where that area is? I'm sorry.
It's the same area where you were suggesting the coin. So it happens on the facade and the east facade. It seems like it's the addition of a couple of extra feet there that's creating an odd condition for the applicant. I don't know that it needs to be solved in this meeting, but perhaps it's something you can revisit and look at with staff.
Ms. Kellogg,
Yes.
can I ask you specifically, because rather than, if there's something specific that you would like to augment on this drawing, it would be helpful to know what that is versus just throwing something back on this and then coming back for a review and then taking a guess rather than a suggested change, because we could.
So you have an unconventional form that you've created by not changing the height of that gable end. So you have an expanded amount of interstitial space. It looks like you have about 2.5 extra feet of interstitial space, which you're filling with, these stucco.
Those are decorative things to break up that. Is there something, because I'm confused following you. You want
There
to
are
do
more traditional means for filling space than applying stucco details.
such as?
Like that. Or particular, yes, the center.
So I was going to say, I do understand Ms. Kellogg's direction, and I believe I heard the mention that you would be working with staff to resolve that. If that is how the board moves forward, then again, that's something that I can work out with you.
Yeah, I think that sounds like a great approach. Frederic and I can certainly work through details that would be far more consistent with your interests. And I do think that we need to panelize this a little bit differently, and introducing the coins will balance that north elevation out. And there's probably a less busy way of handling that interstitial space characteristic that's resulting from us building over the gable end.
Excellent, thank you.
I have two
Thank you.
questions. Ms. Mittner, is it typical to see coins interrupted by a roof line like the ones that are found over the front entry? How they're separated from the first floor?
I can't think of an example right now. I do know there's obviously this building historically had coins, and actually several in the vicinity, including 2-story buildings, have coins running up the length, running up the side of them, but I do not believe they're interrupted with a roof.
Okay, because that's standing out to me. I understand that the way it is now, there's, one set of coins on the corner of the building, and I understand that, with this addition, you're trying to match what's on the first floor, but it doesn't feel historically accurate to me, and I can't think of any historic precedents. And then I'm just having a really tough time with the location of the observation deck, the fact that it's so separated from the other second-story massing. I think you can get into the details and, the height of it and everything, but I just can't wrap my head around the location. But that's perhaps just me. It feels very incongruous with the building. I do think that, though, this is a huge improvement, what you're doing with the second floor and the master bedroom. I think that, this house has had a lot of changes, and you're certainly correcting some of the, for lack of a better word, awkwardness that's happening on that side of the building as it exists today. But I want you to have an observation deck, because I would want to have one if I had this amazing location. I'm having a hard time with its proposed location. Did you consider any other locations for it?
Well, I can see that it being so remote from the second floor addition that made that western side of the building much more appealing. But I actually like the idea that it's a sort of independent turret sitting on the corner of the building. What's lacking is its sense of location in the neighborhood, and how that relates to the experiences that the user is going to have with the building. I think it's cited there, by the way, because it is the only spot that would never be compromised by having a view of the intercoastal. To the rear of us, of course, we have a 6-story building, 7-story, 8-story building, which is on the southeast corner of us. Right adjacent to us, we have a house that may turn into a 2-story house. So we have no other spot where we can actually position an opportunity for the resident to view the intercoastal and the wonderful amenities that are around it. So I think the siting works well. I think adding the coin will give it more a sense of completion and not such a sense of discontinuity, which you may feel as a result of the coin not being on the right-hand side of that north elevation. It feels very balanced. When you look at the east elevation, it feels perfectly balanced where it is. So I think the coin issue may help resolve that consideration that you're having. Equally to the coins underneath the second floor or the roof line in the front elevation, if we could switch back to that front elevation. Okay, these coins here, this is on an outside corner and this is on an outside corner. I didn't like this. In fact, I would prefer to delete this, but in looking at that, we were facing the concern as to whether or not we delete it and have a stucco return there, which I think still would be fine. My personal feeling is I'd rather delete this coin here at the front entry. I think it distracts from the design approach. I like coins, but I think in my mind that's too much coin. But that's a detail I think, if you wouldn't mind, Frederic and I could sort of suss out with revised presentation.
Okay. Ms. Kellogg, I'll let you finish this case before I take back over.
I do agree with you on the positioning of this feature. I think that, trying to position it over the gable is really emphasizing its location in a way that's not necessarily the best suited for the neighborhood. And I'm not sure if anyone else from the board has comments or questions for the applicant or staff before we hear if there are any public comments. Okay, seeing none, do we have any public comments for this case?
I'm not aware of any. We did send mailers out and I have not heard back.
Could I add one comment to that last review? I think when you look at the position of this building relative to the gigantic characteristics and nature of the buildings behind it, you have to look at that in this context. We have here you go. This is a massive building right behind us, and this right next to it may turn out to have a massive building behind it. So we are in a position where that verticality is not as consistently problematic as it might be, as Frederic was pointing out, as if it occurred in the middle of your of the historic district. So I think it's perfectly suited. It's a great relationship for this property to have that opportunity to have an observation deck facing the intercoastal. It certainly does take the difficulties that are going to occur if the next door neighbor goes to a 2-story building, which I understand is possibly under consideration. So we're going to be diminished on that side of the building would that occur. And so this, I think, will fit in well as you see improvements along the intercoastal occurring in that manner.
Thank you. All right. Any other comments from the board or questions? All right. Seeing none, we will go into executive session. Okay. Would anyone on the board like to start the discussion in our executive session?
I felt what I have to say was an opinion rather than a professional comment. But based on what Mrs. Schreier said, I agreed with her comments. To me, the north and south elevations look, I don't know, they just look odd to me, and it doesn't, this building doesn't look like any other building that has been presented to us that I've seen. That space between the east and west, east and west sides of the building just get to me. And again, I apologize, it's an unprofessional comment, but it's just my opinion.
So, Mr. Pickney, you're relating it to the relationship of mass to void. It's within the historic context,
That's correct.
which is part of our standards for judging additions and alterations by. All right. Would anyone like to try a motion?
Just to reiterate what I said, and by no means don't let this influence, what you all decide, but I personally, I can't support the observation deck in that location. I think that there's more work to be done. I think that can certainly be accommodated in some way. It does not, I think, fit the style of this building, and I just don't think it's an appropriate application within a historic district for multiple reasons.
And Ms. Guy. Yes, Mr. Jaroslawski.
No, I mean, I agree. And there are so many details here that really, I mean, I was going to ask you how you feel about, I mean, this is a brand new house that changed proportions and changed architecturally, dramatically, right? And it's like,
You feel the additions and alterations to it have dramatically changed it, the character?
yeah, changed the character of the house, of the architecture, and also there is no really differentiation in what is existing and what is the new part that is being added, right? So if there is a second floor, for example, I wouldn't put coins on the second floor just to differentiate what is new from what is existing. The coins, it looks weird in certain areas. For example, if you look at the east elevation, the edges of the tower that is really tall has the thinnest coins in the whole house. Doesn't make too much sense to me architecturally, right? You want more thickness to emphasize the massing of that tower, right? So there are so many details that I think that needs to be discussed and improved probably.
Am I allowed to speak as a resident?
We are actually in executive session, so it is closed for comment. Thank you.
There is a portion in the west elevation. If you look at the west elevation, the second floor, I don't understand exactly what it's doing, but it's like it's cantilevering off the first floor. You see that detail? If somebody can put the west elevation on the screen, please.
Yes, I'll go ahead and share the screen.
You see on the west elevation is the one, yeah, that portion there. It's some, that is a weird detail also. I mean, why the double line? Why, the coin is not continuing, or I don't understand exactly what is happening there. And again, look at the width of the coins on the right-hand side versus the left-hand side. Why they are different? I don't know. There's certain things that doesn't seem right to me.
Right. And now that we're looking at these elevations, I'm also seeing that the proportion of lights between doors, different windows, they're all different. So they're all inconsistent, even when you have fixed windows next to these French doors. And looking at the photos of the existing house, it seems like there's a bit more consistency in the light proportion. So, Mr. Jaroslawski, is this something you feel like we can deal with staff, or would you like to see it come back before the board?
I mean, again, you know, this was a consent case, and I understand why we pulled it out of the consent because we had concerns. I wouldn't want to delay the process, so I think that in some way we can, you know, direct staff in what we are looking for in order to improve. I mean, overall, I guess that the project is kind of acceptable. Ms. Chair said that she's happy with the master bedroom side of the renovation. But I don't know how we feel about that tower. We all feel a little weird about that tower. So I don't know how to instruct staff about that.
I think it's very hard to add enough conditions to address all of these concerns. I personally think it needs to be continued. I mean, unless one of the conditions is to eliminate the observation deck, that would be the only way I would feel comfortable approving it without it coming back. I don't know if it can be made complementary or even, you know, fitting with the structure and the neighborhood by just changing detailing. I think it's the location as a whole that I'm having the biggest issue with.
Mr. Pickney, you had also mentioned the concerns with the massing.
Yes, that's true. And once again, I just wanted to affirm my agreement with Mrs. Skyer's her statement just now and her previous statement before Mr. Jaroslawski.
I think often when we see these, it's usually an accessory structure. At least I'm going through in my memory when I've seen these, and that I would have less of an issue with. I think it's because it's on the primary elevation and like it's such a prominent corner. I understand that there's a lot of development going on around this property. I can't see how it's appropriate. And it's, you know, I want to provide flexibility, but I just can't see it in this location.
I would agree with that. So with those comments, do we have a motion?
Do we want to give the applicant the opportunity to speak, or do we want to make a motion before?
It sounds like there is consensus that we would need to see this again. I assume that the applicant is not willing to forego the observation tower or the deck.
Could we speak though, just to give you some sense as to what our feeling is about that?
On the observation tower, sir?
Yes.
Please.
I understand your concerns about the coins, and I should have been far more consistent with their width for sure. I don't disagree with any of that. I think your observation of the observation deck is because you probably haven't seen a lot of this before. And it doesn't necessarily lead towards an inconsistent architectural balance in the building.
And let me just stop you right there. So we're actually in executive session. We've heard your rebuttal on the comments made, but can you let us know if you would like to keep the observation tower so that we can work on how we structure our motion?
Just yes, I think the observation tower is important. We'd be willing to lower it, which I think would give it a much better posture in terms of having.
Yes. Let me speak, please. If we have to go back to the proverbial drawing board with this, and in order to incorporate the observation tower, I think that we're happy to do that on behalf of the board. First of all, thank you all for letting me speak, and also let me watch this process. It's kind of the first time I've ever really done this. But the historical element in this house is really the bay window and the front foyer, and the remaining. This house has been modified so many times. It's very hard to really kind of get a historical history of the legacy of this house. And the incorporation of the observation deck is really a function of running around the neighborhood and seeing a few of these in the neighborhood, and seeing more of them probably on the island on the other side, and just giving the house kind of a unique design element that would allow the views to be maximized. And given the fact, so I'm sorry, the answer is if we have to go back to the drawing board and
keep the observation terrace.
Please.
Okay, thank you. All right, so it sounds like we have information to make a motion. It seems like there's consensus that we need to see this project back next month.
Okay, so I move the board to continue case 21-42 on 112 Morrow Drive to next month.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All those opposed? Okay, thank you. So we look forward to seeing you at next month's meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
And I will pass the meeting back to Ms. Skyer.
Okay, so I guess that would mean we're moving on to case number 21-41, 837 4th Street.
The applicant should be in, if they'll please turn on their video. Shuni and Alex?
Yes, this is Chuni.
We can't see you to have you on video.
Can you see me now?
Nope, can't see you.
I am not sure what.
And Eric is here for this case as well? Eric, I know your video was working earlier.
Did mine work originally? This is Chuni.
Is there someone who can make the presentation?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, but we need to see you as well.
Oh, okay. So I am not sure why it's not possible to see me.
No. Oh, wait.
Eric, we're looking at your desk.
Yeah, let me change the let me see. Right.
There we go. So are you able to make the presentation, Eric?
Well, we actually received that we will be that we have some comments that if we address those comments, like the conditions that were proposed. So I went through over all the comments, and most of them are more details or the windows, doors, the stucco. So in all that, we're good. So we agree on changing those details to the plans. On the framing, the color of the framing, the 6-1 for the windows, if they're like casement or hung, also for the French doors and the sliders. So we agree on that. I just have one question that I'm not really sure what it was. It was about the rear structure for the front building. It said that it was a flat roof, but I'm not sure if it was because of the plans that were submitted. So I do have the plans here, so can I share my screen?
Okay, let me swear both of you all in. Can you raise your right hand?
Yeah.
Mr. Chuney as well. Can you raise your right hand?
Yes.
Chuney and Alex. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, so if you'd like, Mr. Gonzalez, if you would like to share your screen, you may do so now.
Okay. Are you looking at it?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. So.
But I think you might need to rotate the view. There, yes.
Okay.
Great.
So this part, this is the rear part that they're mentioning. I saw the pictures of the existing structure of the building. So it does look as a flat roof. And if they're referring to that part, yeah, we agree on turning it into a flat roof. Because right now it's like a parapet wall.
Okay, so you have a question for Mr. Borngraber regarding this?
I just wanted to make sure that if it was this part, that it was actually this part that they were mentioning, because I wasn't clear on the location that was mentioned.
Okay, do you have a presentation, or would you like us, we could have Mr. Borngraber go through his presentation and then he could answer your question?
That's fine.
Okay, great. Mr. Borngraber, if you'd like to proceed with your presentation. So I think Mr. Gonzalez, you'll need to stop your screen share, and then Mr. Borngraber, yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, Aaron Barner, Historic Preservation Plan. Just want to see you can see the full screen slide actually. All right, so this is an ad valorem for new construction for an accessory structure, as well as proposed alterations to the primary structure at 837 4th Street. Here we have the project location highlighted in red. So the request is for proposed alterations to the front contributing structure, as well as new construction of the proposed accessory structure in the frame vernacular style of approximately 890 square feet. And this property is located within the Northwest Historic District. So here we have on the left, the south elevation, which is from 4th Street. And then on the right, we have the partial east elevation, as well as the rear. In the rear is where their proposed structure is going to go for the accessory. On the left, we have the adjacent property to the west, and on the right, we have the adjacent property to the east. These were photos that were included in the application, and to one of the proposed conditions by staff, the maintaining the flat roof is in the section that is already in addition with a flat roof. And these are just the existing condition of the structure. For building 1 and for building 2, this is a structure that was previously there. There was a fire a few years ago. It was demoed with a demolition override letter, and And on the right is roughly where the photo, the new structure is going to go in the far back. So a little information, on the left we have the sandboard map that was republished in 1952, illustrating the frame vernacular structure that was previously there, as well as the two-story mission home without the rear one-story addition. Then on the middle we have the property record card, which was updated in the 60s with the frame vernacular in the rear and then the mission in the front, as well as that one-story addition in the back with the flat roof. And then on the right, we have a photo from 1989 indicating the structure at that time for the front. As I mentioned, this was demoed with the demolition override letter. And on the right, we have a couple photos of the condition that was included in that letter in 2017. Here we have the proposed site plan for both structures. North is to the left. Here we have the floor plan for the primary contributing structure. The elevation, so one of the applicant is proposing is opening up the enclosed porch with the arch openings, turning the first floor part of this portion into a balcony with a sliding glass door. Also a number of horizontal roller windows as well as casements. This is the rear north elevation where that current structure is with a flat roof. And then on the west elevation, there's some illumination of window openings, as well as just some casements. This is a building section, and in the window and door schedule, proposing anodized aluminum with gray glass. And this is building 2, which is the accessory structure, the floor plan. And these are the elevations. So it's very trying to keep with the structure that was previously there. So it has, multiple gables. It will be using fiber cement siding. They're proposing it with horizontal rollers, casement windows, and awning windows, as indicated in the window door schedule, also with the anodized aluminum and gray glass. So staff has reviewed the criteria for alterations as well as new construction and does comply with the historic preservation ordinance as well as secretary interior standards number 9 and 10 generally. And staff is actually recommending approval for the ad valorem with 2 motions, one for the primary structure and then one for the accessory structure. So with these 6 conditions as presented in the presentation, as well as the staff report, these will bring the project into full compliance with standards 9 and 10. This is the 6th condition for the primary structure. And then these are the 3 conditions as noted in the staff report and presentation here for the rear accessory structure that would bring it into full compliance with standards 9 and 10. Thank you.
Thank you. And could you were you able to address Mr. Gonzalez's question?
I did. I went over it
Yeah.
while I was doing the presentation,
Okay.
but I will ensure that clarification. So right now, this is about a flat roof. It's mostly enclosed, so they're proposing to open it up, which is fine. However, it is a later addition, so it needs to still read as a later addition. So that's the reason why the parapet wall addition staff doesn't find appropriate.
Okay, so we will need to just change it to the flat roof, right?
Correct. And the design of that should be more with its current style. There can be some slight modifications to that, but that can be discussed once the board has any decision process and added or amended any conditions.
Okay.
Okay, questions of staff? Okay, any questions of Mr. Gonzalez?
No, we're good and we agree with the conditions that were proposed.
Great. Do any members of the board have any further questions? Do we have any public comment on this case?
I did not receive any.
Okay. Well, I think it's wonderful to see this building restored and to see the reconstruction of the one that was lost. So thank you. This will be a wonderful addition to the neighborhood, and I'm very happy to see this reinvestment. I appreciate your efforts.
Thank you.
With that, and I'm glad that you're amenable to the conditions of staff, and thank you, Mr. Bordengraber, for working with me. So with that, we'll go into executive session, and I believe we need 2 motions. So if you could please bring up the first slide with the conditions for the first structure.
And Madam Chair, just wanted to, this is an ad valorem and staff is supportive of the ad valorem for the complete project.
Great. Would someone like to make the motion?
This will be the first motion for the primary structure. I move that the Historic Preservation Board approve application number 21-41 for alterations in accordance with standards that set forth in section 94-49 of the city's zoning and land development regulations. This motion is based on the testimony presented, along with the application submitted in the staff report, which constitute competent substantial evidence. In addition, the approval of this request is made conditional upon the following restrictions, stipulations, and/or safeguards that I move are necessary to ensure compliance with the purpose and intent of the Historic Preservation Ordinance, the Historic Preservation element of the Comprehensive Plan of the City of West Palm Beach, and the Secretary of Interior's standards for rehabilitation, specifically standards 9 and 10. And the additional compatibility criteria set forth in section 94-49 of the city's zoning and land development regulations. The conditions included are as follows. The structure shall have a traditional Mission Revival stucco applied. 2. All glass shall be clear. All window and door frames shall be white or bronze. All windows exterior shall be inset a minimum of 1 inch from the exterior wall. 3. The chimneys, roof scuppers, and existing parapet wall detailing and articulation shall remain and be repaired as necessary. 4. The rear one-story addition shall remain as a flat roof with overhang and no parapet wall added. The arch opening shall be cornered. 5. The second floor center window opening shall be retained and a 6/1 sash window added.
I think we have one last condition.
But there is, I'm sorry, I apologize.
Chair, shouldn't you
right,
vote on
yes.
the first, and then he makes his second motion?
But yes, I understand. Number 6, the windows and doors shall have the following changes. A, window A shall have a paired sash window with a 6/1 light pattern and a 6-inch wide mullion. The mullion shall extend beyond the window casing. B, window B shall have a sash window with 6/1 light pattern. If a casement is necessary for egress, then the casement shall have a light pattern to mimic a 6/1 sash window. C, window D shall have a vertical 3 light pattern, and window E shall have a vertical 2 light pattern. D, door 1 shall have a traditional Mission Revival door without side lights. E, door 2 shall have a paired French door with a 15 light pattern on each door. F, Door 3 shall have a paired French door with a 15 light pattern on each door and maintain the same head height and opening width as window A on the front second floor elevation. G. Door 3A shall be a French door with a 15 light pattern.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed?
Yeah.
Was that,
What was that?
I don't know.
I think that was just background noise.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Okay, this is the second motion, and this is for the accessory structure. I move that the Historic Preservation Board approve application 21-41 for new construction in accordance with the Secretary of Interior standards for rehabilitation, specifically standards 9 and 10, as well as the additional compatibility criteria set forth in the Historic Preservation Ordinance, section 94-49 of the city's zoning and land development regulations. The motion is based on the testimony presented, along with the application submitted and the staff report, which constitute competent substantial evidence. In addition, the approval of this request is made conditional upon the following conditions, stipulations, and/or safeguards that I move are necessary to ensure compliance with the purpose and intent of the Historic Preservation Ordinance and the historic preservation element of the comprehensive plan of the City of West Palm Beach, the Secretary of Interior standards for rehabilitation, specifically standards 9 and 10. And the conditions are: 1, the structure shall have smooth, hardy board or similar siding on all of the elevations in a bevel profile. 2, all glass shall be clear or clear with low E. All windows and door frames shall be white. All windows shall have a sill made of wood or a wood alternative product. 3, the windows and doors shall have the following changes. A, window A shall have a paired sash window with a 1/1 light pattern and a 6-inch wide mullion. B, window B shall have a sash window with a 1/1 light pattern. If a casement is necessary for egress, then the casement shall have a light pattern to mimic a 1/1 sash window.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Good luck with your project.
Thank you.
We look
Thank
forward
you.
to seeing it when you come back for a completed work application.
So, Misha, what will be your next steps on this once we do all the conditions and the plans? Once we change all that, what will be your next steps?
Once all the comments are addressed, you can resubmit the building permits for both structures.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you both.
Thank you. Bye.
A good one.
Moving on to case number 21-44, 5000 Spruce Avenue.
Madam Chair, we had 2 people signing in as Wendy Rodriguez, and one I was able to promote to panelist. The other one is not moving over, so hopefully this, she can present on behalf of both.
Okay. Mr. Rodriguez,
Hi,
is anyone
everybody.
else joining? Is anyone else joining you, or will you be making the presentation?
Well, the engineer was supposed to join us. I'm not sure if he got in on time.
Oh, I think he just joined. Okay, perfect. So we'll swear you both in.
Okay.
Raise your right hand, please. You solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
I swear.
Thank you.
Okay, if you'd like to proceed with your presentation, please.
So our project is what I thought would be a simple project. We're just replacing the windows of the property located at 5000 Spruce Avenue. We were moving forward with the project, and then we found out that this home is located in the historic district. And while going over the documents that you guys sent us with the conditional approval, I see here that you guys would give us approval with windows. But I wanted to consult, ask, or make a case per se. With all the windows that are currently in the home, they're connected. A lot of them are connected with Mobars, and they're single hung on windows. And what we were wanting to do was to put in those openings they're gonna remain the same size. The only thing that's changing is the actual window itself, that we were trying to do the horizontal rollers. Keeping in mind also the fact that we also have to match egress now with the new floor codes that have come up throughout the years. So yeah, I wanted to see if we could move forward with approval with those horizontal rollers. Actually, I don't know if the awning windows are kind of hard to come by nowadays, since they're not made as often, and also our provider, I don't think they also do it. But yeah, just wanted to hear your end of the story.
Okay. Do you have any visuals, or would you like Mr. Borngraber to go through his presentation, and then we can circle back to your question? Just, I think it would be helpful for us to have some visuals so we're fully understanding what you're asking.
Unfortunately, I'm taking over the project. Somebody else was working on it, and I just found out about the hearing the day that the invites were sent out. So I do not have a visual in hand.
That's okay. Mr. Borngraber will go through the presentation, and then we can circle back to your question after he finishes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Borngraber.
Give me one moment. So case 2144 for 5000 Spruce Avenue, that is. Here we have the project location highlighted in red. So the request today is for replacing existing windows and doors with impact horizontal rollers and single hungs with white exterior frames. 5000 Spruce is a contributing structure within the Northwood Harbor Historic District, and I just want to let the board know, as well as the public, this is before the board because of the type of impact windows that are being proposed, not because the property owner wishes to replace the windows with impact products. So here we have the west elevation of the structure. So there's the front door, the fixed window with flanking awning windows. This is the south elevation on the right with a number of awning windows of the structure. This is the north elevation, which would have more awning windows. For that, here are just three examples. So this would be the front window with that fixed window and awnings. These are awning windows that staff wasn't aware of until reviewing the application. They do have an appearance of wood, however, that isn't known for certain. They are painted blue, however. And then on the right is just the horizontal, the awning windows at a different part of the structure. This is the floor plan. So the floor plan on the left was submitted with the building permit indicating the product approvals, and the floor plan on the right was submitted with the application, which also includes matching elevations for that. And just wanted to let you know, well, for egress purposes, the opening just cannot be lowered. So right now they're awning windows. So imagine most window openings, either a single hung or a casement would allow for greater egress than that currently exists by code. So they're using Lawson for the horizontal sliding windows as well as aluminum single hung windows. And staff has reviewed the criteria for alterations and does not comply as proposed with standard number 6 or number 9. So staff is proposing these 3 conditions. All windows except for number 2 living room shall be an XOX horizontal roller, shall be modified and have following configurations. An awning window with an even number of panels may be replaced with a casement or a single hung with matching existing light pattern. And B, an awning window with an odd number of panels may be replaced with a casement or an Oriel single hung window with matching light pattern. And then 2, all lights shall have an external dimensional flat monument matching the existing windows. And 3, all windows shall be sized to the window frame, match location of the original windows within the window frame. Street facing glass shall be clear and non-street facing glass shall be clear or clear before E. And I just wanted to provide public and board the clarification why 1 horizontal roller is appropriate on the structure is that the massing of the framing will, because of impact windows have greater massing, a horizontal roller of XOX configuration would help reduce that massing for that picture window and flanking casement. For everywhere else, it really should be as close as possible to an in-kind replacement as possible. Thank you.
Okay, questions of staff?
Okay. No, I'm sorry. I just want to understand. So I know that you did mention that the XOX window at the living room, it will be okay. So why wouldn't it be okay for the bedroom doors, or the rest of the door, or the windows be the horizontal rollers? While they're all impact, all of the frames are white, all of the glass is clear. So we're matching almost everything. The only thing that's changing is the style of the window itself.
So regarding the why an XOX is appropriate for this location is because of the, well, it would be preferred for it to be a fixed window with flanking casements because of that, the massing of impact windows that would be reducing and that wouldn't quite match the visual of it. So that's the reason why it's appropriate there. On other parts of the structure, horizontal rollers are not really appropriate for the minimal traditional or the 1950s architectural style. So it's really just appropriate because it matches the appearance closer than it would elsewhere.
Okay, I understand that. But now, given, for example, our homeowner, the reason why he decided for the horizontal rollers is because he's very much aware of, he works closely with construction as well. So he is, concerned in case of, I don't know, a fire or that they're sleeping in the room and all of a sudden this explosion happens per se. God forbid that happens, knock on wood. And that would be with horizontal rollers, in our opinion, that in our point of view. He's very concerned, and that's one of the points that he did try to, he was like, oh, make sure that you mention this because it's, it's safety, it's a life that could be potentially in danger if anything were to happen.
To address that, just for the public as well as the board, egress is a concern. However, that can be met with casements, and the applicant has not demonstrated that casements are not a viable option.
At this moment, at this point in time, they're not a viable option for our homeowner. He's also looking into selling the home. He just expressed us this week, yesterday actually, and you know, the horizontal rollers, even though I made the calculations and each opening or some of the openings themselves are about the 12 feet, square feet, you know, so anybody can like actually fit through there. And yeah, hello?
Okay. Well, thank you for, advocating for your client and why they would prefer the horizontal rollers. We certainly take life safety seriously, but we also have to uphold our mandate as a historic board and ensure that any additions or alterations to historic structures are historically appropriate for the individual architectural style and the building itself and the district. So with that, do we have any further questions of either staff or the applicant?
Could I have just one clarification from the applicant? She mentioned safety concerns, but then I thought I heard her mention that the owner plans to sell the structure. Is that correct?
He is looking into actually selling the home. He told us that yesterday, when we thought that the hearing was going to be yesterday, we were talking about it, and he mentioned that. But he still wants to move forward with the windows, given that it is a kind of a big project. And this, he said, I'm not sure. I'm just expressing what our customer told us, that he wanted, since it was like a family home, he wanted to be certain that if he were not to sell the home, that he would be safe in there.
Okay, thank you, Miss.
Okay, any further questions of the applicant or staff? Okay, do we have members of the public that wish to comment on this case?
Madam Chair, I'm not aware of anyone.
Okay, so we will go into executive session. I certainly am sympathetic to the property owner's concerns about life safety. However, we regularly approve casement windows, and I don't believe that will impede the opening of the window to have a casement as opposed to a horizontal roller. And I personally am supportive of staff's recommendations.
Yeah, I agree. Staff recommendation is in line with our window policy, so I think that is appropriate.
Okay, any further comments, or would someone like to make a motion?
Well, it just seems apparent that the applicant is not in agreement with the conditions.
Yes, and I think that happens sometimes, seemingly, especially with windows. We are in executive session. If you'd like to make a comment as to the conditions and whether the owner is amenable to them, you're welcome to do so. But if you're going to provide any further rebuttal, that time has passed.
No, actually, I wanted to consult if we were to actually speak to the homeowner and you guys give us this conditional approval, and we would be able to proceed if we were to convince him that, this will be.
Yes, correct. So basically the two options are, well, I guess there's three, but I don't think we want to deny your case because that really sets things back. So we could continue the case to give you more time to speak with him, or we could approve it with these conditions, and then obviously that would allow you to commence the work even more quickly than if we continue it, because if we continue it, you'll have to come back next month. So I know that the owner is not present in this meeting, but if you would like to give us some direction as to what you'd like to see, we'd be happy to.
So in the case that we were to decide to continue with the case and come back next month, if throughout that month period we are able to convince our clients of this new changes and the conditional approval that you guys are suggesting, would we be able to, I don't know, we will have to wait until then to let you guys know that he was convinced, or do we can send you an email or a discussion or something that will let you guys know it prior to the month being up?
You would have to come back to the July meeting, which will be at the end of July.
Excuse me, Madam Chair?
Yes.
So normally this permit would be handled at the building permit level. And if they did this work, then it could just be approved with the building permit and the case could be withdrawn. So they would not have to come back for the July meeting unless the owner was not in agreement with any of these conditions.
Oh, okay.
Okay, great. All right, so then so now that since he mentioned the permitting part, so let's say that we do like a revision, like a correction to our plans, and let's say that we do put the awning windows or the casement windows, which would be the more logical way for us right now. That would go also through with you guys, or I'm not sure how that would be handled.
Wendy, after the motion, I will contact you tomorrow to discuss next steps.
Okay.
Okay, but you're basically saying you'd like us to continue, correct?
Yes, let's just do for continue as of right now, and then throughout the month we will proceed without he said before.
Okay, great. So can we have a motion to continue, please?
I move case number 21-44 on 5000 Spruce Avenue to be continued on the next meeting on July 2021.
Second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
So moving on to case number 21-46, 2417 Medina Way.
Madam Chair, I brought in the three persons representing the applicant, and I will bring the owner in now. Just a minute, please. Actually, I believe the owner is no longer online.
I just notified the owner that we are on.
Okay.
He asked me to do
As soon
so.
as I see her, I will make sure she's back in. But if you all want to go ahead with your, oh, well, we need to get sworn in first.
Okay.
You. I know you're doing double duty tonight.
Sorry, am I getting sworn in? I'm not.
Yeah. All right, everyone offering testimony, if you would unmute yourselves and raise your right hand to be sworn in. You solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. For the record, Rafael Saladrigas with Studio SR Architecture and Design. I'm here with my partner, Rafael Rodriguez, and our landscape architect, Don Scouron. And we are here presenting for 2417 Medina Way. Mrs. Nancy Giardini and Mr. Morris Panner are the owners. And I'd like to sort of very quickly go through the project. The first thing we'll do is show you some photographs of the existing home, which we are proposing.
I'm here, sorry.
Oh, good. Hi, Nancy.
Hi, sorry about that.
You're just in time. We just started. So it's some overall photographs of the existing home, primarily from the street. Obviously, we're proposing to demolish this house. It's been targeted as non-contributing. This is an aerial view of the house from Medina. This site here was a new approved home for that corner house. And these are the two neighbors. I'll show you some photographs of that in a second. These are the two neighbors directly to the north. That's 2413 Medina and 2415. And this is our proposed site plan. The property is 75 by 125. We've side loaded the house with a master bedroom on the ground floor. There's an entry loggia off of the east side. The house is approximately 3,700 square feet under air. And we have a loggia that extends all the way through to the family room on the ground floor with balconies on the second floor and a pool. This is that gets a lot of sun from the south side. Some parking in the front of the house and a outdoor foyer, which our landscape architect will describe for you. Our ground floor plan. You can see the L-shaped configuration, the swimming pool, the open south courtyard, the entryway, where we have a pair of wrought iron gates, a series of rooms, a front bedroom, which is going to be used as an office, a family room that opens to an outdoor loggia, and then the master is part of the south wing of the house, and that's a single-story element. This is the second floor of the home. Again, same configuration, the 24.9% lot coverage footprint, some large balconies off the second floor, and just a series of bedrooms. Ms. Giardini and Mr. Panner have a very large family that come and visit them frequently. So we need all of those bedrooms. And then again, You can see the roof of the master downstairs. This is the south elevation where you can see the extent of the loggias. This is the entry loggia here with the front door and a quatrefoil window overhead. The balconies on the second floor, 2 bedrooms, the master, which faces the swimming pool. This is the north side elevation, which has about an 8-foot setback, more than is required. And this will be heavily landscaped. Again, Don will go through that with you. This is the front entry elevation. What we've done very deliberately is to reduce the massing on the street. Some step backs, you can see the loggia in the background, the master. This is a cut through the courtyard, the wrought iron gates, wrought iron railing, an overhang with some bracketing, wrought iron railing again, recessed doors, cut barrel tile for the deck directly outside the office. It's the detail of the master with a pergola in front. And then the rear elevation is very simple. It's really more the service side of the house. This is a door that enters into a pantry area that has direct access to the kitchen with a window above, a very small balcony off of the north bedroom, a window in the laundry room, and there was no need for any windows in this ground floor element. Show you the renderings. This is the entry for the house. You can see this site wall that creates this inner courtyard. The wrought iron gate, double wrought iron gates that gives you access to the entry loggia, the recessed doors on the front, the cantilevered balcony over this opening, the wrought iron railings, the sort of elevated entry foyer, and of course the landscape that Don will walk you through. This is a view from the inner courtyard. You can see the entry loggia, the front door with a quatrefoil window overhead, a series of doors that access this upper balcony for guests and family. You have 2 bedrooms on this upper balcony, and this is the larger, deeper loggia, which extends out a little bit, the master bedroom that is on center with the swimming pool. An aerial view gives you a better understanding of how the roof works. You do have a roofing element here that projects out and then steps back and then steps out again. And again, the master bedroom on the ground floor on access with the swimming pool, a large courtyard meant for sunny days when you can sit out and enjoy the southern sun, with deep recesses to protect against the glass and doors and rain when you're walking into the house, and vegetation which creates the privacy, and some site walls that again Don will walk you through. So the house is very simple in nature. We wanted to sort of stick to what the neighborhood context was, where you see limited elevations, but the houses actually are a little bit bigger, in particular on this side of the street. On the other side of the street, they tend to widen out quite a bit. And that concludes our presentation.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Mr. Saladrigas. I know you just closed it out, but would you mind going back to that rendering? I wanted to ask you a question about the material for the porch supports, particularly.
That elevation?
Yes. The one you just had with the pool.
Oh, the other one.
Yeah.
There we go.
So is that all the supports for the balcony and the porch, or is that painted wood or is it stucco?
Okay, so the ground floor intention is to do concrete and stucco.
Okay.
So the details, the bracketing would all be formed and then finished off in stucco. We'd have a brick or terracotta flooring that creates a banding here. And then these members would be in wood and painted.
Okay.
Now there is some sort of internal discussion as to whether or not they should be darker or offset the house. You know, that's going to be sort of an ongoing discussion. I don't think we've really resolved that yet, but we're presenting it this way very generically. We think it could be very successful painted. And it also gives us the opportunity as an attempt to use a material that would last longer. We might consider using AZEK, which is a synthetic material, if the board would allow us.
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with AZEK, but it cuts just like wood.
I'm not familiar. Is it a cementitious material?
No, it's not cementitious. It's actually how would I describe it? It's
a composite material.
Thank you.
They call it engineered wood.
Yeah. Engineered.
Okay. Any further questions of the applicant? I think it's a great design.
Thank you.
It's beautiful.
Agreed. Very successful.
Okay, Ms. Mittner, would you like to make your presentation? Thank you, Mr. Saladrigas.
Thank you.
Happy to. And after that endorsement, I'll keep it extra brief. Frederique Mittner, presenting case 21-46 for 2417 Medina Way. As you've seen, it is located on one of the interior streets of the El Cid neighborhood. The home was constructed in 1949. Here's an image on the left of the existing home and the rendering of the right that would replace it, because the request is for demolition and new construction of a single family home. Again, the subject property. And then just kind of in comparison, staff was also appreciative of the width of the house relative to the neighbors. And this is already an inset of the home that was recently approved by the board. So you can see the width and proportions there. And then these are the two contributing homes immediately to the north. And then again, this is the lot that will then be developed. We reviewed the criteria for demolition. It is a non-contributing home. It remained at that status during the resurvey. So therefore, we do not feel that it would be an irreparable loss to the district or the city. As you've seen, the site plan and floor plan, first and second floor, with the southern component being just a one-story element, and then the east elevation that faces the street, and the side entry, and a simple west, and then there's an abundance of balance with the fenestration on both the north and south side, and then the renderings that were just shared with you. So So we do believe the new construction meets Secretary Interior Standard 9 and 10 and the additional compatibility standards. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions of staff? Do we have any public comment on this project?
I have not received any.
Okay.
None is coming.
So we'll go into executive session then. Again, great design. I think very complementary to the contributing structures nearby. I like how the setback's been respected, and I think it's just really a great fit for this street. It's a unique street within El Cid. So thank you for your consideration and the sensitivity. If there are, would anybody else like to make a comment? And it's great to see this family staying in the neighborhood as well. So with that, would someone like to, we need 2 motions, one for demolition and then one for new construction.
I move that the Historic Preservation Board approve application number 2146 for demolition in accordance with the demolition guidelines as set forth in the Historic Preservation Ordinance, Section 9449 of the city's zoning and land development regulations. The motion is based on the testimony presented along with the application submitted and the staff report, which constitute competent substantial evidence.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. And the next motion, please.
I move that the Historic Preservation Board approve application 2146 for new construction in accordance with the Secretary of Interior standards for rehabilitation, specifically standards 9 and 10, as the additional compatibility criteria set forth in the Historic Preservation Ordinance, sections 9449 of the city's zoning and land development regulations. The motion is based on testimony presented along with the application submitted and the staff report, which constitute competent substantial evidence.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Your project has been approved. Thank you very much for your efforts. And
Thank you so much.
thank you. We look forward to seeing the completed project.
We do too.
Thank you.
Have a great evening.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye. Moving on to case, I understand the last 3 cases are in one presentation, so I'll announce them together. Case number 21-47, 813 6th Street. Case number 21-48, 818 8th Street. And case number 21-49, 629 11th Street.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair and Board. I appreciate it. And also to the city staff who's been very helpful through this process. So thank you very much. Did we need to start with swearing in?
Yes.
Raise your right hand. You saw and unmute.
I am unmuted. Can you hear me?
Hear you.
Okay.
Solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do. So thank you again, everybody. It's great to be here presenting. We're very excited to be starting this project. Let me share my screen. Okay. Okay, can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, great, thank you. My name is Julie Miller. I'm presenting on behalf of the applicant, All True Homes. And as Madam Chair mentioned, we are covering 2147, 2148, and 2149 in one presentation. They are all new construction on vacant lots. Start with a little bit about us. We are infill developers in the South Florida area. We have projects going in Miami-Dade for the affordable housing through the infill housing program, as well as some projects in Broward County and now in Palm Beach County, including the 3 that we're here to discuss this evening. So let's see, a little bit of background. All 3 of these lots were acquired from the city under an infill program through which we committed to building the houses within 1 year and making them available to owner occupants. So these homes were conceived with respect to the historic basically to try and preserve the architectural integrity of the area, but also to provide something that is useful and appealing and also within reach of the local community. So we decided to go with a 4-bedroom plan that accommodates a larger family or an extended family. The homes are basically, they combine a couple of styles to match the neighborhood. There's colonial elements, there's neoclassical elements, you know, with the colonial, with the brick base and the columns, the decorative shutters. There's also some neoclassical with the gabled roof and such, French doors and windows. Staff has recommended approval of these with some conditions, and the applicant is in agreement with the conditions. So we're here to answer any questions.
Great. Do we have any questions of the applicant? Well, it's great to see reinvestment in this neighborhood, and these will definitely be a great addition.
Well, thank you.
Appreciate your efforts, and thank you for working with staff.
The staff has been fabulous, I've got to say. Everyone we've worked with there has been very helpful and supportive. We can tell that, you know, everybody's out to improve the community, and it's a great feeling because that's why we're in this business.
We love to hear that. Thank you. So we'll go into the staff presentation if there are no further questions for the applicant or comments.
All right, Aaron Barger for the record. So this is 21, 47, 48, and 49. Here are the location aerials. So we have 629 11th Street, which is located right here on 11th Street, 818 8th Street, which is located on the south side of 8th Street, and then 813 6th Street, which is located on the north side of 6th Street. So the request is for a 1-story vernacular single-family house of approximately 1,685 square feet, and all 3 properties are located within the Northwest Historic District. So the existing site at 813 6th Street, on the left we have the photo of the property as it currently exists, and on the top right is the adjacent property to the west, and on the lower right is the adjacent property to the east. So some historical information. So the 1989 photo from the Florida Master Style site form. It shows a 2-story frame vernacular structure, and on the right, well, I don't have an exact date for those photos. It does illustrate the condition at one point that the city documented it. Here we have the existing site for 818 8th Street. On the left and on the right, we have the adjacent property to the west, and on the lower right, we have the adjacent property to the east, both newer construction. And there was a 1-story frame vernacular there in 1989. And then on the right, we have 3 photos from it in 1996. the existing site for 629 11th Street. Right here on the left, and on the right, we have the adjacent property to the west, as well as the adjacent property to the east. And previously, there was also a frame vernacular structure there, as you can see from the photo in 1989, and then these 4 photos that are in the presentation, but also in your packet from 1996. So all 3 of these structures were approved with a demolition override letter, which is a provision within the ordinance, and they do not require historic preservation board approval. These are the 3 site plans for the structure. They all conform with the NWD RC1 zoning code. The floor plans, as well as the window schedule and door schedule, the roof plans. And this is the front elevation, so there is that front gable with the hip roof behind it, the shutters and the paired sash windows with decorative vent. There's also a wood post with a decorative veneer post underneath it. The rear elevation just has a couple windows as well as a French door. And the side elevations have multiple sash windows and a fixed window. This is a rendering. And these are the 3 street elevations. For the top one, 8136 Street, which is a 1-story structure, but on that section of the street, there is also 1- and 2-story structures. For 8188 Street, structures within the street elevation are all 1-story, so it is appropriate. And then on 629 11th Street, there's a mix of 1- and 2-story structures. Staff has reviewed the criteria for new construction. It does comply with the Historic Preservation Ordinance as well as Secretary's Interior Standards 9 and 10. So staff is recommending these 4 conditions for full compliance with Secretary's Interior Standards 9 and 10. The structure shall have a smooth, hardy board or similar siding on all elevations in the bevel profile. All shutters shall be sized to completely cover the window opening as if they are operable. All street glass shall be clear. Non-street facing glass shall be clear or clear with low E coating. The paired window shall feature a 4-inch wide mullion that projects beyond the window casing. Single hung window shall feature a 2-over-1 light pattern. Fixed window shall appear as a 2-over-1 window. Door shall feature a quarter top forward lights or a 8 to 15 light pattern depending on size. All buttons shall have an exterior dimensional profile. All windows shall have a white exterior frame. All windows shall have a sill made of stucco, pressure treated wood, or wood alternative product. This is the recommendation for 2147. For 2148, just a slight revision to number 3, which is a single hung window shall feature a 3-over-1 light pattern, and the fixed window shall appear as a 2-over-1 window. And for historic preservation case 2149, this is the property on 11th Street. A modification to condition 3, where the single hung shall feature a 2-over-2 light pattern, and the fixed window shall appear as a 2-over-2 window, as well as an additional 5th condition: the property shall be combined prior to permitting. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is 3 motions.
Yes. Thank you. Do we have any questions of staff? Do we have any comments from the public?
Madam Chair, I have not received any public comment regarding any of these 3 cases.
Okay, thank you. We'll go into executive session. I think it's pretty straightforward. We will need the 3 separate motions. So the wording for the first motion is currently on the screen if someone would like to make that motion.
I move that the Historic Preservation Board approve application number 21-47 for new construction in accordance with the Secretary of the Interior Standards for Rehabilitation, specifically Standards 9 and 10, as well as the additional compatibility criteria set forth in the Historic Preservation Ordinance, Section 94-49 of the City Zoning and Land Development Regulations. The motion is based on the testimony presented along with the application submitted in the staff report, which constitute competent substantial evidence. In addition, the approval of this request is made conditional upon the following restrictions, stipulations, and/or safeguards that I move are necessary to ensure compliance with the purpose and intent of the Historic Preservation Ordinance and the Historic Preservation element of the Comprehensive Plan of the City of West Palm Beach, the Secretary of Interior's standards for rehabilitation, specifically standards 9 and 10, and additional compatibility criteria set forth in the Historic Preservation Ordinance, Section 94-49 of the city's zoning and land development regulations. And the conditions include the following. Number 1, the structure shall have smooth, hardy board or similar siding on all elevations in a bevel profile. 2, all shutters shall be sized to completely cover the window opening as if they were operable. 3, all street-facing glass shall be clear. Non-street-facing glass shall be clear or clear with low E coating. The paired window shall feature a 4-inch wide mullion that projects beyond the window casing. Single-hung windows shall feature a 2/1 light pattern. Fixed windows shall appear as a 2/1 window, and the door shall feature a quarter top, 4 lights, or 8 to 15 light pattern depending on size. All muttons shall have an external dimensional profile. All windows shall have a wide exterior frame. Number 4, all windows shall have a single mode, shall have a sill made of stucco, pressure-treated wood, or a wood alternative product.
Do the second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
I move that the Historic Preservation Board approve application number 21-48 in 818 Street for new construction in accordance with the Secretary of the Interior standards for rehabilitation, specifically standards 9 and 10, as well as the additional compatibility criteria set forth in the Historic Preservation Ordinance, Section 94-49 of the City Zoning and Land Development Regulations. The motion is based on the testimony presented along with the application submitted and the staff report, which constitute competent substantial evidence. In addition, the approval of this request is made conditional upon the following restrictions, stipulations, and/or safeguards that I move are necessary to ensure compliance with the purpose and intent of the Historic Preservation Ordinance and the Historic Preservation element of the Comprehensive Plan of the City of West Palm Beach, the Secretary of the Interior standards for rehabilitation, the additional compatibility criteria, I believe it says. Sorry. The additional compatibility criteria set forth in the Historic Preservation Ordinance, Section 94-49 of the City's Zoning and Land Development Regulations. The conditions include the following. 1, the structure shall have a smooth hardy board or similar siding on all elevations in a bevel profile. 2, all shutters shall be sized to completely cover the window opening as if they were operable. 3, all street-facing glass shall be clear. Non-street-facing glass shall be clear or clear with low coating. The paired windows shall feature a 4-inch wide mullion that projects beyond the window casing. Single-hung window shall feature a 3/1 light pattern. Fixed window shall appear as a 2/1 window, and the doors shall feature a quarter top, 4 lights, or a 8 to 15 light pattern depending on size. All mounting shall have an external dimensional profile. All windows shall have a wide exterior frame. 4, all windows shall have a sill made of stucco, pressure-treated wood, or a wood alternative product.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. And the final motion.
I move that the Historic Preservation Board approve application number 21-49 for new construction in accordance with the Secretary Interior standards for rehabilitation, specifically standards 9 and 10, as well as the additional compatibility criteria set forth in the Historic Preservation Ordinance, section 94-49 of the city's zoning and land development regulations. This motion is based on the testimony presented, along with the application submitted and the staff report, which constitute competent substantial evidence. In addition, the approval of this request is made conditional upon the following restrictions, stipulations, and/or safeguards that I move are necessary to ensure compliance with the purpose and intent of the Historic Preservation Ordinance and the Historic Preservation element of the Comprehensive Plan of the City of West Palm Beach, the Secretary of Interior standards for rehabilitation, specifically standards 9 and 10, the additional compatibility criteria set forth in the Historic Preservation Ordinance, section 94-49 of the city's zoning and land development regulations. The conditions include the following. 1, the structure shall have a smooth hardy board or similar siding on all elevations in bevel profile. 2, all shutters shall be sized to completely cover the window opening as if they were operable. 3, all street-facing glass shall be clear. Non-street facing glass shall be clear or clear with low E coating. The pad window shall feature a 4-inch wide mullion that projects beyond the window casing. Single hung windows shall feature a 2/2 light pattern. Fixed windows shall appear as a 2/2 window, and the door shall feature a quarter top 4 lights or 8 to 15 light pattern depending on size. All buttons shall have an external dimensional profile. All windows shall have a white exterior frame. 4, all windows shall have a sill made of stucco, pressure-treated wood, or a wood alternative product. 5, the property shall be combined prior to permitting.
We have a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, motions carry. And good luck with your project. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you very much.
With that, I believe we have come to the end of the agenda.
Yes, thank you for your patience with us this evening.
You did great. And of course, this is our last Zoom meeting. We'll be back in person next month.
One note, I won't be at next month's meeting because I'll be on vacation in North Carolina, so I'll miss that first meeting. But I'll look forward to seeing you all in August.
And once again, best wishes to Aaron on his new position in Connecticut.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for all the time you've dedicated. I've really enjoyed all the research that you've put into each of the cases when you make your staff report. It's always great seeing these historic images. And thank you for upholding, especially our window policy. We really appreciate the guidance you provide on that and all of the efforts that you've made working with applicants. So good luck in your future endeavors. And did I hear you're going to Connecticut?
Yes, I'm Hartford, Connecticut specifically.
Oh, good. Well, good. I don't even know where you're originally from. I don't know if you ever told us that.
I am from Buffalo, New York.
Okay, so you'll be closer to home.
I will be, but still far enough away.
The hub of the Great Lakes and the home of the smile.
Well, thank you very much and good luck. And with that, would someone like to make a motion to adjourn?
No one wants to adjourn.
I move the board to adjourn tonight's meeting.
And do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Well, thank you all through your patience through this experiment, transitioning and taking this board. It's a little cathartic for me, I think, to reflect on the past year, and now we're in a position where we can return to being in person. So I look forward to seeing you all, or those of you who can make it in person next month and some point in the future. Stay safe in the meantime.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Have a
you.
wonderful night.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night.